All right, lecture 18, searching and sorting arrays. We'll talk about how to search them, how to sort them. It's fairly easy. There's a couple methods you can use that sorts an array for you. And then searching, you just loop through and search for your term. All right. So sorting. How do we sort? Well, we use java.util.arrays, and that's used to sort the arrays. We also need java.util.collections for reversing the order of our sort. So java.util.sort, it sorts in an ascending order. Um, with the collections, we can sort it in descending order. So the method that we actually use is called arrays.sort, and we pass in our array. And this requires that java.util.arrays import. This is ascending order. Descending order, we use the method arrays.sort, pass in our array, and then we type in collections.reverse order. And this requires the java.util.arrays import and the java.util.collections import. Now I'll show you some examples of that. So let's say we have an integer array right here. We have int scores equals new int, and then here are all our different scores. If we want to sort this in ascending order, we do arrays.sort, pass in our scores, and you see this would sort our array. There is a way of doing it in descending order, but we haven't necessarily talked about it in this class, so we're not going to worry about it right now. If you would like to know how to do it, I can show you, but it's not important for this class. With a double array, same thing as an integer array. So we have our weights right here, double weights equals new double. We create our array. We pass in all these values for our array. Then we do arrays.sort weights, and it sorts it in ascending order. Same thing goes for a string array. So we have this string array. I tried to use some names that resonate with you all. So I have Lil Baby, Rod Wave, Drake, and Sweetie. I think that's how you say her name. It confuses me every time. All right, so with strings, we can sort in ascending and descending order. So ascending order goes from A to Z. Arrays.sort names, and we're going from A to Z. Descending order, we do arrays.sort names, collections.reverse order. So now names equals Z to A. So Sweetie, Rod Wave, Lil Baby, then Drake. Okay? That's how you sort an array. And that's it for sorting. Sorting is very easy. And I'll show you the code for this. Create a new project, Java application, lecture 18. All right, let's create an array. Int scores equals new int. Let's pass in some scores. 54, 68, 93, 27, 56. All right, 56. All right. So now all I have to do is arrays.sort, pass in our scores. And you see that it automatically imported it up here. All right? But if it didn't import it, you would have this error, just like our scanner object. Just like our scanner object, you can add the import right here, add import for java.util.arrays, or you can hit Control-Shift-I, and it does the same thing. All right, so now if I print this out for an S scores, it will print it out in ascending order. System.out.print S and then system.out.print. All right, it will print this out in ascending order. Pull this up. Where is the output? It's running, it's just not pulling up the output. Let's see, where's my output? Here we go. So you see it printed out in ascending order. All right. And again, we would do the same thing for a double array or a string array. However, with a string array, let me do this. With a string array, we can do it in descending order as well. So let me copy this. Paste it in here. Alright, so now for int string in inside of names, and then we print name or in, you see it prints it out in ascending order. Well, we can do this the same way, except we can do it in descending order instead. And in order to do that, we right here we do names collections dot reverse order, and there you go. And again, this automatically imports java.util.collections up here, so we don't have to do it ourselves. I hit run, and you see first it did it in ascending order, and then it did it in descending order down here. So that's how you sort your arrays. Really simple. Arrays.sort, and it sorts it for you in ascending order. With strings, we can do it in descending order as well. Okay. All right, searching. Searching is fairly straightforward as well. We just do a linear search. So we just iterate through the entire array. However, linear searches are exhaustive and inefficient, but it's just what we have in Java. So if we have an array, int search number equals 45, and we're looking for this number, 45, we need a Boolean in equals false. We create our array right here, then we loop through our array and just check to see if the value at index I equals our search number. If it does, n would equal true. So we initially set n equal to false because before we search the array, we don't know if this number is in there or not. So we don't want to assume that it's in there. But once we find it equal to our search number, we know that that number is inside of our array. So now we set n equal to true, and we can print out n to see if it's in there or not. So if we go back to our code, if I undo this, we have our scores. All right, those are our scores. That array up here. Int score equals new int, and then all these different scores. Well, let's say our int search number equals 75. We're looking for 75. Boolean n equals false. And there we go. So let's search for 75. So in order to do that, we need to loop through our array for int I equals 0. I is less than scores.length. I plus plus. Alright, so I just created a loop that loops through our array. And then we just have to check if scores at index I equals our search number, n equals true, and we can't break our loop because we don't need to continue going. Once we found n equals true, we don't need to keep searching our list. We already found it. And then so we could just print it out. System.out.println n. See if it's in there. So from this example, we know 75 is not inside this list, so I expect what I print out in, it should equal false. And it does equal false. If I do a 23, I know it's not in there. I know it's not in there, but when you run your program, you may not know. That's a false. However, if I do a 68, that should be inside our list, so n should equal true. It does equal true. So you see we're searching inside of our list for this number. All right. All right, so the same thing applies for doubles. So if this is our example, what do you expect n to equal at the end of this for loop? So we're searching for 2.93. This is our array. We're searching, I would expect n to equal false, right? Because 2.93 is not inside of our list. All right, we can also do this with strings, except when we compare strings, we have to use our dot equals method, not just equals equals. So string search term equals Drake, boolean n equals false. Here's our array. We're searching for Drake. If it's in there, set equal to true, so I'd expect n to equal true at the end of this loop. Okay, so let's do a string version of this. So let's copy this array. Let's print that right here. All right. The issue that I'm correcting right now is that when I copy this over, these terms, or at least the quotation marks, are in the wrong format for NetBeans, so I'm just fixing that. Names.length. If names I, this needs to be a string. String search term equals, let's say equal to Cardi B. All right, we're searching for Cardi B inside of our array. If names.i.equals search term, and to be safe, dot equals ignore case, right? It ignores whether it's capital or lowercase. N equals 2, break. So we know, looking at this example, Cardi B is not inside of our array. So I expect this n to still be false. False. But if I change this to baby, I'd expect that to be true, right? And that's why I used equals ignore case, because you see little baby, nothing in here is capitalized, but in the search term, it is capitalized. Equals ignore case ignores the case. If I do just regular equals, it's going to be a false, because technically these do not equal each other, right? Lowercase l is not the same as a capital L, but for our purposes, we don't care about the case. We're just going to do equals ignore case. Bam. All right, any questions about searching and sorting? It's actually the last slide for searching and sorting. We're going to move on to something called array lists from here. So any questions?
Nope, got it.
All right. Well, we'll move on to array lists.